I really like the design of this Kuya t-shirt, but it's a medium and I want it to be small. I also want it to be a crop top instead. This is how it looks on me, and I'm going to show you guys how I transform it into a crop top with a lower neckline, shorter sleeves, and an overall better vibe. First things first, I want to make sure that my t-shirt is turned to the right side, and I am measuring from the top of my shoulder down to where I want the crop top to sit. Then I'm transferring that measurement onto my t-shirt. With that being done, I'm going to fold my t-shirt so that it's the length that I just measured. And I'm just measuring again just to make sure that it's even on both sides. Once that's measured and everything is in check, I'm cutting along the fold. The next thing I did was to cut the sleeves off of the top. So now the t-shirt looks like this, and the sleeves look like this. I folded my t-shirt in half here just to make sure that it's even on both sides. It wasn't, so I went ahead and cut another line just to make it straight. The next thing I did was to cut the rib knit off of the neckline, and I did that first by cutting a slit into the front, and then I used my scissors to cut all around the neckline. I actually want to lower the neckline, so I'm using my tape measure here to measure and mark 1 inch down, and then with my ruler I drew a 1 inch line extending out from that fold and followed up with my French curve, establishing a new neckline. Of course, I cut along that new neckline with my scissors, and now this is what the top looks like. It's time to match up the sleeves. But first I wanted to cut away the stitches that joined the sleeve to the shirt. And now they are left looking like this. Of course, I want to make sure that they're even, so I had them matched up and I cut off the excess off of the one that had too much fabric on it. What I'm doing here is clipping a notch at the fold of the sleeves. That will help me to identify where the sleeve will be attached to the shoulder of the top. Then I match the sleeves to the armholes of the t-shirt. Since there's some excess fabric here, I'm using my ruler to just draw a line that will make that flush with the sleeves. And I cut along those lines on both sides. Opening out the t-shirt like this, I pinned the notch that was on the fold of each of the sleeves to the shoulder seam of the t-shirt. I first pinned right there at the shoulder seam, and then I pinned all the way out to the right and to the left. Once I was done pinning, I was also able to see what excess fabric is left on the t-shirt, so I went ahead and just cut that away. You want to always cut in a straight line when you're doing this. We are going to stitch along here with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Please make sure that you are using a small size needle like size 12 or size 14. If you use a large needle like I made the mistake of doing, you are going to poke some holes into the fabric and make it weaker. Here I'm finishing off the raw edges of my sleeves using my serger. And I'm just fitting it just to make sure that it's gonna look the way I want it to look. Now it's time to actually close the top. So here I am matching the front and back seams of the sleeve and I'm pinning them into place. Once that's done, I'm pinning all the way to the bottom and then all the way to the top at the sleeve. The reason why I start at the center is just to make sure that those seams line up. If you start at the top or start at the bottom, you'll find that your seams won't line up and then your top may not fit the way how you want it to. With that being all pinned up, we're going to take this to the sewing machine and stitch with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I do have some excess fabric here, so I'm just cutting that away. Then I'm going to finish the neckline and the hem using my serger. Yup, I tried my top again. Next, I folded and stitched my neckline by 1/4 inch, and because it got stretched out in the process, I went ahead and pressed it flat. Now, using the excess fabric from the t-shirt, I am cutting 2 strips of fabric that are 2.5 inches shorter than the bottom of the shirt. And I stitched those together at the sides. With that being done, I'm matching up both of those seams and cutting a notch at the top and bottom on the opposite sides. I did the same thing with the hem of the crop top by matching the side seams and cutting a notch at the back and at the front center. Now I can go ahead and match all 4 parts of this piece along with the 4 parts on the hem of the t-shirt. You want to make sure that you put the seams on the piece that we're adding to the t-shirt to the side seams of the t-shirt instead of at the back and the front. That way it will look more seamless. Once that's done, you want to go ahead and stitch this piece onto the t-shirt with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. You're gonna have to stretch your t-shirt and the fabric that we're adding to it in order to make sure that it actually meets. Oh, by the way, I must say that this strip of fabric was about 2 inches wide. This additional piece should have actually been added to the wrong side of the fabric. So it should be the right side of this piece going to the wrong side of the hem of the t-shirt. I did it the other way around, but I still made it work anyway. The next thing I did was to fold this piece to the wrong side of the fabric, pin all the way around, and stitch from one end to the next. To make this neater, I went ahead and used my iron to press it flat. Then, because I wanted my sleeves to be shorter, I folded them up by about 1 inch and pressed them using my iron. Now I'm stitching at the top and the bottom of the sleeve just to hold it into place, and voila! Just like that, I have a new crop top. It did fit a little bit loose around the hems for me, so what I did was to go ahead and take off about 1 inch on both sides, and now it fits me a whole lot better. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, and subscribe for more sewing content. I will see you in the next one.